Attorney Alan Jackson releasing a scorching new statement on behalf of Karen Reed.
This is a targeted statement, and Alan Jackson takes aim right at Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan and Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey. Let's get right to it. Jackson says, quote, "The jury has spoken, but Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan, in an egregious breach of prosecutorial ethics, has tried to publicly shame and discredit that very jury. For him to attempt to supplant his personal views of the jury is a desperate attempt to save face in the wake of a unanimous rejection of the prosecution's case." Jackson goes on to say, quote, "The Commonwealth's defamatory public comments ring hollow to the very constituents they are supposed to serve. It is now crystal clear that disgraced DA Michael Morrissey has no interest in actually seeking justice for John O'Keefe by identifying and prosecuting the real killer or killers." Jackson appears to be responding to the statement Hank Brennan put out yesterday. That's Brennan right there. Brennan described a campaign of, quote, intimidation and abuse by Reed's camp, calling it the antithesis of justice. And Brennan said no one else was responsible for John O'Keefe's death other than Karen Reed.
I couldn't believe I was in it. It's like, holy, I'm in this.
And more breaking news, Hank Brennan, the prosecutor in the retrial of the Karen Reed case, is finally speaking out days after a Norfolk County jury acquitted Reed of second-degree murder and manslaughter charges in the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. In a statement this morning, Brennan expressed his disappointment in the verdict.
Now I go, I'm in this.
In not achieving justice for John O'Keefe and his family. Brennan went on to say in part, quote, "After an independent and thorough review of all of the evidence, I concluded that the evidence led to one person and one person only. Neither the closed federal investigation nor my independent review led me to identify any other possible suspect or person responsible for the death of John O'Keefe."
I look at it and go, I was very young, very naive. Yeah, good effort.
The campaign of intimidation and abuse that has been waged, funded, and promoted in public and on social media is the antithesis of justice. If this type of conduct becomes commonplace, it will threaten the integrity of our judicial system, affecting both victims and criminally accused.
It's like, I don't know, a painter who stuck saucers to a canvas, and then the evolution.
This is boozy beauty.
This is fucked up.
All right, people. This is just laughable at this point. Chris Albert cried to Canton Police Department over a ducking sign that said, "I, Greenheart, Canton." Chief Rafferty's last hurrah is attempting to get a new charges on one individual that failed prior over rubber ducks and another who had been outspoken over the county bullshit. Did Chris not go on a nationwide program and say the same thing out loud? Does this mean that he actually doesn't love Canton, but simply the protection he has within it? So it says here that Richard Schiffer charged picketing of a witness, picketing of a juror, picketing of the police, picketing of a court official, intimidating, interfering, harassment.
Yep.
No arrests, right? They were summoned. Referred to summons, so they were summoned
Yep.
for harassment.
This is fucked.
521, 621.
Yep. Printed on 622. Yep. So it happened on either she just pulled a log, obviously, and got it from the town, but this is fucked up.
Very much so. Wow.
Yeah. Trying to sneak this one under the radar, get PD. Trying to get it done, but no one's looking, kind of thing. This just makes it look even worse. I don't know.
Well, if anybody talks to Rich, can them pass along our best wishes. We hope if he needs anything, we hope that he comes and asks anything that we can help him with. I'm more than happy to.
He's the one that had the Karen Reed was framed.
Yes.
In the store, so that's why they were going after him and. This whole rubber dig. Remember, the money that they spent in pulling all the cameras, and they spent more time.
64-page report by the state police 13, dude.
Yeah.
64 pages. They went through his trash.
It's crazy. We should go down to Shelton's level, and that's so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
You let me know. I'm there, man.
Brennan says he hopes that with the verdict, the witnesses and their families will be left alone. He also says he hopes the coming years will help the O'Keefe family find peace and closure.
Yeah, I was sort of the poster boy, wasn't I, for villains. And I put a stop to it. But they're more expensive, villains. I charge more. At a discount, yeah, I'd gladly be the hero.
No one protects you. I think people need to understand, we're not talking about inside the courtroom where they throw out a third-party culprit. We're talking about an orchestrated campaign.
Exactly. Like, listen to these people just, exactly. America was built. That's why I say, dude, those are the most fucking, these people, Scott McGinnis is American hero, bro. He had no quit. Dina, American hero, bro. Fucking, for real. Going out there, exercising the First Amendment right that all these assholes take for granted. Because if nobody was exercising it, before you know it, you don't have it. Before you know it, because you don't pay attention to fucking laws being changed, before you know it, you don't have that right anymore. You already don't have the right to do it in Massachusetts. That's what's crazy. There's a law already existing in Massachusetts where you don't have the right to do these things. So these people, knowing that they could be arrested for simply being peaceful, these people are American fucking heroes, because what they cared about was the fact that it was their God-given right. It is not a Massachusetts given right. Fuck you, Massachusetts, is in that sense. As far as Massachusetts law goes, fuck you, Massachusetts law. It is a God-given American right to assemble, to speak. Simple. Sit here and act like these people don't have the rights that they have. Fuck you. Julie Grant only fails to beep.
Leaked all their names from grand jury testimony, and then a concerted effort. This is where they live. This is where this one lives. Or you camp out. Let's show you where they all are, and let.
Shut up. Diffusers, Randy, and flummoxification. Breen is going to be claiming intimidation now. Get the fuck out of here, right? Get the fuck out of here. I want to hear that shit.
We need to be heard on this.
That's why we're here, Mr. Yannetti.
Thank you. I'd like to start with the most outrageous and false assertion that the Commonwealth made in its motion.
Can I just ask you, there's no jury here, can I just ask you how long this is going to take?
Between 5 and 10 minutes.
Okay. Because I don't need, the hyperbole.
Your Honor, I need to make my argument in the way that I think is most effective for my client. I will keep this brief and succinct, but I have points to make that I need to put on record.
Okay, and I'm the person you are trying to convince, correct?
I understand that.
I don't hear any of these people fucking whine, bro. Manage your fucking feelings, dude.
And let's just keep the pressure and make their life living hell. And I thought it was, they have been under attack this entire time, but it's really ramped up the past couple of days since, the verdict came out. But it's an element of
no accountability for his part and everyone else that he fucking rubs elbows with. No accountability on the harassment, the racist-driven harassment against juror number 11. No accountability for that shit at all.
Of dehumanize, go after them, convince people that these people are not worth basic respect.
You're so right, John. I feel like we could all keep talking. I know we're out of time, but I sure hope that good people start standing up, protecting these innocent people. And we certainly saw that with Hank Brennan. My God.
We already did. We are doing that. We stood up for Karen Reed, and now we're standing up for Turtle Boy. We already did, and we're already doing it. Just so you know, Julie. The innocent people are being stood up for. Thank you, though. Very helpful.
My God, what an incredible job he did with this prosecution, and should hold his head up high.
Really still haven't heard much yet from the DA in this case, from Morrissey.
No, we have not heard a lot from the DA. All he gave was that 4-sentence statement.
Manny, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Norfolk DA Michael Morrissey releases 4-word statement on Karen Reed verdict. The jury has spoken. Norfolk County DA Michael Morrissey. No period? That's it? That's all? The jury has spoken. I mean, yes, they have, but like no, not even any punctuation? The jury has spoken. I mean, I guess if you are the DA, there's not much more for you to say, because people really want to know, why did you hire Brennan? Why did you pursue this second trial? Like, there's a lot of decision making that everybody wants to hear. I want to hear. But yes, the jury has spoken. Okay. Short and sweet. The jury has spoken. Yes, they have. And then they have continued to speak. I don't think we need the rest of the article because it's just rehashing the trial. And, well, we were all there for that. We are going to look at the other law enforcement agencies that also spoke, including the Massachusetts State Police Union. So this is the union for the state police. Don't worry. State police also gave a statement. State Police Association of Massachusetts statement on the trial and death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Period. Look, man, I am not one for grammar. I am terrible at it, but there are times. The association continues to send its sincere condolences to the family of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Yes, agreed. The jury has spoken, and we remain respectful of the process. Period. Okay, that's when you are done. That's when you're done. That part. Be done. Just be done. But no, not done. We remain respectful of the process. Then be done with the statement. However, since the beginning of this trial, there have been numerous attacks and accusations against our troopers and sergeants. Careers have been lost. Okay. Careers have been lost. Families have been devastated. I agree with that part. And many lives have been changed forever. I agree with that part too. A good investigation would have really helped John O'Keefe's family not hopefully be as changed forever. But that's not who they're talking about, is it? As our current and former members. They're talking about Proctor. Are there other former members than Proctor? As our current and former members continue to be the subject of baseless accusations, it is important to remember that the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe has been investigated with great scrutiny by both members of the State Police Internal Affairs and the FBI.
The FBI!
To date, there is yet to be any information that this investigation was compromised in any way. We remain steadfast in our commitment to represent the men and women of the State Police Association and are forever grateful for the work our members do every day to serve the citizens of the Commonwealth. We remain respectful of the process. However, leave us alone is kind of what this says. They say that the death has been investigated with great scrutiny. Well, if it has been investigated that way, then the careers weren't lost. Well, more of a you lost it for yourself type of a lost. But it's just an interesting choice. Head of Massachusetts State Police responds to the Karen Reed verdict. Massachusetts State Police Colonel Jeffrey Noble said that in the aftermath of the Karen Reed case, the department will continue to work on improvements in oversight and accountability. Okay. How are we doing that? Noble issued a statement about the verdict on Thursday. Remember, the verdict was last Wednesday. The events of the last 3 years have challenged our department to thoroughly review our actions and take concrete steps to deliver advanced investigative training, ensure appropriate oversight, and enhance accountability. A lot of words. We haven't given any action items, but it's a lot of words. What are the concrete steps? Maybe he tells us. Under my direction as Colonel, the state police has and will continue to improve in these regards. Our focus remains on delivering excellent police services that reflect the value of professionalism and maintain public trust. Okay. Massachusetts State Police said that since Noble joined the department in October 2024, he has implemented new training for members assigned in investigative roles. That includes training on courtroom testimony and new policies surrounding social media and personal phone use. Those are just how it was captured. The professionalism is a problem. Training in courtroom testimony. Okay. Good. This also doesn't address like Devers. The fact that it was said so many different times during trial means I will not ever remember which one is now correct because my brain has conflated the two of them. And I don't remember if Dever is the correct one or Dever is the correct one. It's just gonna be what it is at this point. Chad is just telling me that Dever is 100% correct. Thank you, Chad. I think that means that that's probably the one that annoys her the most, and therefore that is the one that is correct. A lot of you are saying never say Dever. Right, because that's the wrong one. Dever is the right one. I think that's correct. The chat's in it for the lols at this point, right? Which is why you're saying never Dever, because that's the proper one, but we're never going to say it. We're never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around, desert you, because Chad is correct. We're going with Chad. Proctor was fired in part for messages he sent about Reed on his personal phone. Sure, additional trainings were added surrounding case management and reporting as well as the DNA process, police said.
Is it possible you right now, without saying a word, can visibly become an evil character?
There's a little trick. If you, not necessarily evil, but if you want to look tough, you bring the head up first, then the eyes.
He's incentivized to keep persecuting instead of prosecuting, and this is a perfect example of why I think hiring somebody from the outside, especially a defense attorney, I don't understand, Mark, why they wouldn't have somebody from the Attorney General's office come down. That's what normally happens if there's a conflict or a local attorney's office, district attorney's office doesn't have the expertise on a really complex case. You hire a defense counsel of all people?
But I think it's even worse than that because Lally and McLaughlin and another person, they're sitting there at the table. There is no conflict. This office did prosecute the case the first time. They're there to prosecute it the second time. And nevertheless, Morrissey, who, many people think is corrupt, incompetent, or a combination of the both, somehow takes taxpayer money and hires special prosecutors for cases the same way you buy quarts of milk at the supermarket.